Well, this has been coming for a while, hasn't it? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my Newcastle United rebuild in FIFA 22, but with a twist. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I have loaded up a career mode with Newcastle United with the starting 11 pretty well bang on to how it is currently in real life right now for Newcastle, or at least from the last couple of games or so. And what I'm going to be doing today, ladies and gentlemen, is signing up players with the 320 billion that Newcastle apparently now have to play with, or at the very least, the valuation of PIF, now the new owners of Newcastle United. I'm not saying we are going to spend 300 billion. No, instead, we have 190 million pounds that apparently Newcastle United can spend for free, not violating financial fair play. 190 million available to them right now. Are Newcastle United on the verge of basically going for the biggest January transfer window in the history of football? By a single club, who knows? We've got Alexandre Lacazette up top. This is the current Newcastle United lineup as it is at the moment. Joel Linton, you got Longstaff and Hayden. Normally these two can sometimes switch places, but Hayden typically in a more CDM role, who occasionally drops into the back line to make it a back five, with Willock and Almiron on the right-hand side. Manquillo, Fernandez, and Kieran Clark have been the centre-backs, with Richie at the left-back and Darlow in goal. Obviously, this is not the strongest starting 11 that we could possibly have. You've got like Dubravka and Wilson, who I'd like to chuck in there. Jamal Lascelles as well, maybe if he's fully fit and healthy. But that, for the most part, is the team that Newcastle have right now. And it's got them, sadly, in real life, 19th with about 3 draws and 4 losses. I have recreated Newcastle United's form and just the Premier League table in general about as closely as I possibly could in FIFA 22. We're sitting in 18th place with a win, which is more than what we've got right now, unfortunately, but it's still somewhat realistic. So again, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign the players in January that I think, not like any player that I genuinely want, not the highest rated player possible. This is not that kind of rebuild. No, instead, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be signing players that I believe Newcastle could get in real life. These are realistic predictions that I'm thinking Newcastle United could do with that 190 million. The first thing I'll go ahead and do today is make this starting 11 the strongest I feel it can be. So we're going to do things like put Saint-Maximin to the left midfield, even though he's been great at the striker position as of late, or up top as the forward. But Joel Linton can probably go for a fully fit Callum Wilson. That's the only thing we'd have to do to be able to accommodate the two of them. Put Saint-Maximin out wide, even though, again, I think he's shown up top he's been great. I reckon Martin Dubravka goes in over Carl Darlow. I reckon Jamal Lascelles probably goes in over, I'd say, Kieran Clark. And really, I don't know how much other changes there are to be made in this team, to be honest with you. I think that is basically our strongest starting 11, as sad as that may be in some areas. But look, have a look at that team. What is the area that you think needs work the most? I can tell you, as a Newcastle fan, I fully believe that we need an overhaul of our midfield. We need those creative players and better, just in general, players in the middle of the park, because we just can't dictate a game. We can't control a game. We seem to have, like, on average, 33% possession, I feel like, a game this season, or like 40%. It's just not good enough. Sure, that can maybe be the way that we set up, hit them on the break and counter attack. Like, that's fine, but we just, even if we were going up against a weaker opposition, we can barely retain the ball. Our defense could do with a little bit of work. We could do with some fullbacks, but I think I'm going to probably not actually opt for any in January. We definitely don't need a new goalkeeper. I'm perfectly happy with either Dubravka or Carl Darlow if they're fully fit and at the peak of their form. And as for strikers, well, I mean, we could do with another winger to accommodate Saint-Maximin, maybe another guy to chuck up top, or someone along those lines. So here is my shortlist then, people, of realistic signings, I think. Players that actually could go to Newcastle in real life. And look, when we're comparing realistic here, I'm using quotation marks. I'm saying compared to the Newcastle fans and the people and the pundits that are saying we'd be going for Mbappe in January. No, these are players that I genuinely want to go for. And you'll notice a theme. Pretty well every single one of these players are in the Premier League. And there is a reason for that. We are 19th in real life right now, okay? We need to make sure that we have the players in the team that are Premier League proven to keep us up. I have no problem with going and getting players from other leagues. I really don't. In fact, there are some great players that we could get for way cheaper, just because of the fact that they may be better than the actual players that we're going for here, but they've not played Premier League football, so they don't have the experience. You can't 100% guarantee their success in the Premier League, even though I think sometimes, you know, the apparent golfing class between the Premier League and other leagues is kind of inflated in the eyes of a lot of fans. But I do believe that if you have experience in this league, it can go a long way in a relegation battle. So that's why one player here, James Tarkowski, who in career mode, unfortunately, apparently he's getting a move to Bayern Munich. Fucking hey, well, good on you, mate. If you can make that happen in real life. Switching up Burnley for Bayern. What a glow up. But no, he's in the last year of his contract. He could be bought for quite, you know, a reasonable fee in January for a 28-year-old Englishman, of course. You got to accommodate the English tax and everything, but that's kind of offset by the fact that Burnley are just going to want to try to get whatever they can for him. Because I think he's pretty keen to leave, and yes, he could go to a decent club in the Prem, but Newcastle are presenting him an opportunity here to stay or to go to a team that, again, is similar positions in the league, yes, but we have a much brighter future than, say, Burnley do, and we have literally a chance here to set ourselves up as possibly one of the next big clubs, and it's going to take a good couple of years, but he could get on the ground floor of that. It's a very interesting project and process that we can offer to these new players, especially a bucket load of cash. So I'm going to buy James Tarkowski in this career mode. Don't ask me how. I'm going to play my tricks. I think I can have a word with Bayern and make sure that we get Tarkowski in January. As for midfielders, I do believe we should sign 2 midfielders in January, and the 2 that I've highlighted, honestly, have been Calvin Phillips and James Ward-Prowse. There are other shouts, like Thomas Souček here. I think if Declan Rice ends up leaving West Ham to go somewhere else before Souček does, I think it's almost impossible that we get him. And as for Decore, the other centre midfielder, I think he'd also be a very handy player for Newcastle United to try to sign. Again, nearly 29 years of age. I think he's in, not the last year of his contract, but the second last year of his contract. And I think there is a chance that if we dropped a good enough fee for him, that there's a possibility. But the 2 that I think I would want are Calvin Phillips and Ward-Prowse. I just really rate Ward-Prowse very highly. Calvin Phillips obviously is great, and his market value has gone up a fair bit since the Euros. And I feel like the 2 would accommodate each other very nicely in a midfield. So I know Ward-Prowse recently signed a very big contract, which is why I'm saying you'd need to pay something like 60 million for him. I genuinely think Phillips has a higher market value than Ward-Prowse, but purely because of the fact that his contract is nowhere near as long as Ward-Prowse, I'd say you have to pay the exact same for each other. So I'm going to pay 60 million for the both of them, even though in career mode, apparently I only need to pay 45 million. Like, that valuation I don't think is going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a 60 million pound offer on Calvin Phillips, okay? That is overpaying to his value in career mode, but again, we're not operating on career mode basis here. We are operating on the basis of a team of realistic transfer fees here. That's what I'm going for. So that's him signed up. We will get him in January and add him into the team when we do get him. The other centre mid, of course, I'd be keen for is Ward-Prowse. And again, if we're paying 60 million for Phillips, I think Ward-Prowse would also go for about that valuation. I think he has evolved beyond that Southampton team, which is on a little bit of a slide lately. I mean, Leeds themselves are half a shout of maybe getting relegated too. I don't think it will happen, but I mean, Southampton probably a much stronger case for relegation than Leeds. Yeah, he signed a really big contract, but I get the feeling that I think even Ward-Prowse knows he's probably evolving beyond Southampton. Newcastle have got the brighter future. We can offer him a decent amount. Yes, there have been some offers for him already, but I genuinely feel that if Southampton continue to slide and the realization sets in that, oh, they actually could possibly go down, I think Ward-Prowse and maybe even Southampton will start thinking, well, maybe we get maximum money for him now versus we possibly get relegated and we have to sell him for almost half of his value, because that is a decision that some clubs down toward the bottom of the table need to make. So again, according to FIFA 22, I could pay less than 50 million pounds for him, but in real life, I don't think that flies. I'm going for 60. And again, I also have to point out here that, yeah, sure, some of these clubs just won't be willing to sell for anything less than a stupid amount of money. I'm saying that if we could make these transfers happen, this is probably what I would expect to pay. If we had to pay 80 million for Ward-Prowse, we're not doing it. These are just the valuations in the ballpark of what I would expect slash be willing to pay. So Ward-Prowse and Calvin Phillips. I think that is a sick little duo to have in your midfield, man. I would really love that. Plus, you've got Joe Willock, who occasionally will get his way forward, work his way into the box, get a goal-scoring opportunity. I really like that midfield for Newcastle. Now that just leaves the question of attackers. Now, I've got Wilfried Zaha here. I would expect Zaha probably to go for about 40 to just under 50 million pounds. Ismail Assar, I genuinely had valued at about 30 million or so. And then I realized that Watford paid 35 million when they first brought him in the championship. That boggles my mind. I can't believe they dropped that much on him. I mean, that's probably what he's worth now. They're probably going to want way beyond 50 million if he's going to go. And that's, I just feel like, an unreasonable fee for him at this stage. So I don't think Sar's going to happen. And then you've got strikers and other possible players that we could put out wide like Martial. Yeah, questions over his attitude, but I mean, I still think he's a class player and I think he's got more to give. And he's not really getting much of a run at Manchester United. Could happen. Lacazette at Arsenal, 30 years of age, maybe a bit of a concern, but I believe he would bang in the goals for us as well. And Mikel Antonio, obviously in fine form, but maybe the only thing that would stop this from happening is the fact that he, I think, is literally... I don't know who West Ham's next best striker is after Antonio. Do they even have one? So I think realistically, the most likely transfers here are Lacazette and Martial. I'd probably value Martial at, or at least I think if a move was going to happen, we'd need to pay about 40 million for Martial. Lacazette, maybe we could get for cheaper, possibly 30 million, 35 maybe. I don't think he would cost as much as Anthony Martial, that's for sure, for the fact that he's, 5 years older. And I think Lacazette's contract actually runs up this year. If so, he could be quite decent. This whole time I was really keen on Martial, but I'm starting to think if we only just need a player that's going to be decent for at least a season or so, I was more or less thinking, okay, Martial's like 5 years younger, we should hopefully get more longevity out of him. But with Lacazette being 30, I mean, he's not by any stretch of the imagination finished, I don't think. I think he's still got a good couple of years left to give before maybe he starts to fade a bit. And I reckon that if we brought him in, he would do nicely. And I wanted Lacazette at Newcastle years ago, ages ago. I'm talking like 5, 6, 7 years ago. I really wanted him a long time ago. Martial would be great. It's really down to these two. And I genuinely don't know. Look, I'm pretty keen on getting Wilfried Zaha into this team alongside either Martial or Lacazette. So for the sake of maybe saving money, for the fact that he'd probably be cheaper, and maybe in terms of quality, they're about the same at the moment anyway, I'd probably go for Alexandre Lacazette. Yeah, it looks like he's already signed. He's already gone to Milan. God damn it. All right. I'm still going to make it happen either way. Don't you worry. I have my ways. But I am going to get Lacazette, I think I would go for in real life. And I'd also go for Zaha as well. So can I actually pay money for him? Yes. I'd need to pay him between 32 and 42. Again, I think in the real world, I think just over 40 and just under 50 is that's the range for him. So let me move here for Wilfried Zaha. And again, I can't choose between 40 or 50, but I think somewhere in the middle, about 45 million would probably be the move for me. I think that's what I'll go for. That's my anticipation of what a valuation would be, what I'd be willing to pay for him. Lovely then. So that's Zaha coming in January as well. And now we just need that striker. I just can't pick between Martial and Lacazette, but I think we'd probably end up going with Lacazette. I'm going to opt for it. So again, with him going to Milan in this career mode, it makes it a bit annoying, but I'll find a way to get him to Newcastle, don't worry, in January. And the same, obviously, with the other man, Tarkowski, who, by the way, I'd be willing to spend about £15 million for. I think £15 million, if that is not exactly what he goes for, I'd be shocked. Because again, yes, English tax, but with him being in the last year of his contract and with him wanting to move, and I think a Newcastle move would suit him nicely, I reckon that's probably what he's going to go on for exactly. Lacazette, I really don't know what you'd pay for him. 25, 30 million, possibly that I would say is tops. I wouldn't really want to pay 40 plus mil for Alexandre Lacazette. So let's call it 30 million for Lacazette and 15 million for Tarkowski. That would work out absolutely perfectly too, because we have got just under 50 million left in the budget with wage and whatnot, but 45 million of that would pretty well eliminate the rest of the budget. So we'd be doing very nicely with those 5 players. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to actually start advancing forward to January. We're going to get those boys in. We're going to see how the team looks, and then we're going to see what the tail end of this current Premier League season looks like with those players in the team. So we are in January, ladies and gentlemen. Looking at the table, we've moved up to 14th place just by ourselves, which isn't too bad. But look at the starting 11 now that we have just, oh my God, picked up. With Lacazette, Zaha, Ward-Prowse, Phillips, and of course Tarkowski. That is a major improvement. What a facelift. This is how I've got it set up currently at the moment, all right? Lacazette up top at striker. You got Zaha on the left-hand side, and Saint-Maximin has played on the right occasionally at Newcastle United, and I think he should. I don't understand why he wouldn't be like a decent handy player for us on the right wing as well, but like, I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of rotation to be had amongst these guys since they're all pretty well capable of going down the left-hand side, but the midfield's really what I'm loving. Okay, Ward-Prowse and Calvin Phillips now. Joe Willock, I've kept him in the center midfield position as well, but what a midfield. An immediate improvement, a giant improvement, and then the backline's identical, really, aside from the addition of Tarkowski. Yes, some fullbacks are still probably needed, but I am very happy with this starting 11. And honestly, if we spend 190 million just to get ourselves a team that is capable of getting at least mid-table, making sure we're definitely as far away from a relegation as possible, and every single one of the players that we picked up were Premier League proven like this, I'd be very happy. Zaha, we can get a good solid 4-5, I think maybe 4 years of consistent football out of. Lacazette, maybe only a handful of years. But Ward-Prowse, I think we can get a good amount of seasons out of. The same for Calvin Phillips. Tarkowski, we could get about 4 or 5 or so out of him as well. Not bad, I think, for the money that we're paying here at all. At least, I believe so. I think 5 players, Premier League proven, decent players that definitely walk into our starting 11 for that price tag. It's definitely going to keep us up, and I'm pretty happy with those moves. Our bench already looks levels as well. I mean, seriously, with Darlow, Fernandez, and Lewis on the bench there, you got Miggy Almiron you could bring off. Nice. Hayden's a decent player to bring off. And then you've got Callum Wilson off the bench, would surely score a goal or two as well. I feel like if he is fully fit, he could almost be challenging Lacazette possibly from time to time for a spot. I love that. But yes, if the stars aligned and all 5 of those transfers were possible, those would be 5 that I would be super keen on. Get a real overhaul in the midfield going, a decent amount of, or just, add a nice little addition to the defense, another attacking option and a winger as well, I reckon would be huge. We just need to increase our offensive output and just need to be a little bit more dangerous going forward. And I think that does that for us massively. The addition of Phillips keeps us covered. You got Ward-Prowse with the creativity and the free kick specialist, I'm sure, from corners, from set pieces. We become, just by having him in the team, so much more deadly. We managed to get 7 wins, 4 draws, and 9 losses in 20 games without those 5 players. Let's advance to the end of the season and see what our position's going to be. I'm assuming we'll hopefully go up a little bit, although it is still fairly close. Again, even if we finish in 14th place this season after dropping 190 million, most fans would think you're crazy. No, I'm genuinely fine with that. It'd be next season I'd want to see the eventual improvement. But let's go. I am going to advance all the way to the end of the season. We'll see how we finish in the table. We'll see how those players go. So then, after this Premier League season, we see Spurs apparently winning it, not the Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool juggernauts that we're expecting. Yeah, wow, that's a crazy one. West Ham finishing 5th and all that lot, but what about us? Where do we finish? It is 14th place. We are bang on the exact same position after making those signings. And again, you know what? Hey, fair enough. I feel like it's going to take, a little bit of gelling into the team when you're completely overhauling like half of the starting 11. Like, look at PSG. They're still a little bit shaky despite all the talent they've got. But again, it is what it is. And I'm just going to keep telling you, if we pulled off all 5 of those transfers, if we got those players for that amount, Lacazette for 30, Zaha for like 40, 45, Ward-Prowse and Phillips for 60 each, and then Tarkowski for like 15, I'm telling you, if we spend that 190 mil or so on those 5, and this is the starting 11 that we have for the at least second half of the season, there's no chance that team goes down. There is no chance. With a capable manager and with good support, I don't believe it. But anyway, that's season 1 finished. Now we move over into the next transfer window, and the next transfer window is interesting. I'm going to operate on the basis of, let's say next season I spend 150 million, because I don't know exactly how it works with financial fair play, how much you're allowed to spend, the specifics, but I'm not going to go and blow 500 million in a window, because that's just not realistic. Even for these guys with all their money, I might go for like 100 mil, 150 mil cap for next window. Let me look at things like stats too, by the way. Again, just curious. Alan Saint-Maximin doing bits, not surprised there. FIFA have got that one pretty well nailed. Callum Wilson with 11 goals and 0 assists is also pretty damn realistic. Then you got Lacazette popping up with a few appearances toward the later end of the season, and then others like Almiron doing whatever. God knows what's going on with, oh my God, Ward-Prowse and Willock and Phillips. And what is our midfield doing? Oh my Lord, according to FIFA, it's getting nothing. But again, though, I will not be deterred. Let's end this season. Let's move to season 2. And let me tell you what players I think we could pick up, or maybe should go for, in the next transfer window, the first big transfer window of the new season in season 2 for 2022-2023. And so, people, in this brand new transfer window, this brand new season, let me show you the short list of players that, after we have settled ourselves and definitely made sure we are not getting relegated, we're still in the Premier League. Now let me show you some of the players that I personally would have my eye on if I was to be running things. And again, I'm just assuming off of the fact we're not going to be able to go for the absolute world-class players, because again, I think what we need to do is build a younger, fresher, really, good core group of players that can eventually push and get better together, and we continue to add to it slowly over time. I don't expect Newcastle United to be even getting close to the Champions League for a good many, many years, all right? And we are not going to be able to attract the absolute best of the best, your Mbappes and your Haalands, if that's even ever going to happen, like until we get to that point. So it's a slow process to get there, which is why you won't be seeing an awful lot of players even in the high 80s in this list. But you will see players like Nordi Mukile, for example. I think a guy that could play both at centre-back and right-back for us is very handy. Kevin Mbabu, ladies and gentlemen, used to play for Newcastle United a few years ago, and I thought we didn't, and I'm not saying that for the sake of it too, by the way, we really did not give him much of a run. We didn't give him enough of a chance. I thought he was going to be good. We let him go, and he's gone off and done great things. Like a handful of players that Newcastle had back in the day. Adam Armstrong going back to Southampton. He's not wild, but Ivan Toney as well, or Tony. He's done brilliantly as well. We had him, didn't really give him much of a shot. But one of these two right backs I think would be fantastic. I think it'd be kind of cool to get Kevin Mbabu back. He'd be like our Pogba. We take the L, we buy him back for, I don't know how much he would cost, really, but he would be an option. A centre back that I'd be very keen to go for would be Jules Koundé, if he hasn't moved anywhere else by this point next year or at the beginning of next season. I wouldn't mind making a move for him. Ben Godfrey's also like a maybe option for me, although I'm not particularly sure about him if he would be a move, but another Evertonian and a left back I think would be a nice addition for Newcastle would be Luca Digne. If Everton haven't made any European football in the previous season, I think that could be a shout as well as Theo, maybe Hernandez, who in this career mode has gone to Real Madrid, but I reckon if he stayed at Milan, that could be a move that we could maybe go for. Yes, we'd probably have to ask him, hey, trade in Champions League for no European football whatsoever, which would be a tough call. And then, if not him, we've got one other left back that I've got my eye on here in Robin Gosens. I really think this guy is quite good, not just for Atalanta, but obviously for Germany in the Euros. He had a couple of standout performances, one especially against Portugal, which was incredible. Can defend, can go forward, and can do really a little bit of everything down the left-hand side. I'd love to get him in as well. As for the midfield options, Hossein Mawar, if he hasn't gone anywhere, I think his contract would be running out this season, so he could be an option and a good shout as well. I don't know, maybe they've renewed his contract by then. It's too hard to tell. We're talking about a good 8, 9, 10 months in the future here. Yuri Tielemans, in this career mode, has gone to Liverpool. I get the feeling he could possibly get a move from Leicester as well, and I don't think Leicester are going to make Champions League this season. They could maybe possibly fluke Europa League or Conference League, but depending on how Leicester City go and if he moves anywhere else, maybe he could be a shout for us next season as well. And then one other one in the midfield would be Jude Bellingham. This guy would be, oh, what a statement. I know that, again, maybe not the highest rated player in terms of overall according to FIFA, but just, I think that would be a major move of intent from Newcastle to sign one of the most promising youngsters in England right now. And again, just a child who has barely started his career, but yet is already so good and will surely continue to get better. And then up top, yes, we have already picked up Alexandre Lacazette, but he was more or less a handy option for us to have in a relegation battle and hopefully to propel us out of that. And maybe he could be decent off the bench for us as well. But I think a star striker that we would love to, because I think we definitely need a star striker. Not being able to get Mbappe, not being able to get Haaland, maybe Alexander Isak would be a shout. I do like the look of this guy quite a lot. He had a great season last season in La Liga, so I think he would be a terrific pickup. He's obviously gone to Liverpool in this career mode, which is frustrating because it means a lot of the players that I wanted to sign, I'm not actually going to be able to in this career mode. Raheem Sterling too, by the way, this would be, if his contract is not renewed, this would be it. This would be the career, or this would be the season that his career at Man City could possibly come to an end, unless he has a very sudden turnaround in form and becomes invaluable to the team, which could happen. But if not, maybe that is another option for us as well. Again, it would be another one of those massive, huge, big statement signings. Again, like I said, you're not going to see too many players that are Raheem Sterling's overall in my shortlists. And if you do see a player that's that highly rated, it's because there is maybe just a few things aligning for a possible move. I'm not just going to say, oh yeah, Bruno Fernandes, let's just go for him. Like, no, not going to happen. But for the right back position, while I think Nordi Mukile would be a sensational get, how funny would it be if we actually ended up bringing back a former Newcastle man in Kevin Mbabu? I actually don't really know what his market value would be at all. I'd need to do some research. But I think for now, as a fairly safe bet, I'm pretty well just going to pay the top end of the range that I'm getting given in FIFA. I know that's not always realistic. Hell, I mean, I probably could have signed Ward-Prowse and Calvin Phillips for like less than 40 million when there's no chance they'd go for anything bar 60. But let's just do this anyway and see. 35 million for Kevin Mbabu. Would that be absolutely crazy? I'm not particularly sure, but I think that's reasonable enough, maybe. Off the top of my head, not having done a super amount of research on him. The centre back I definitely want is Koundé, but he just went to goddamn Dortmund. So maybe I might have to try to find someone else, because I don't think Godfrey, I think we could do better than Ben Godfrey in the next transfer window. At left back, however, Luca Digne definitely would have been my top picks, and I can go for him. Apparently 55 million. What would Everton want for Luca Digne? I feel like 55 million for any fullback is pretty wild. You'd have to be getting the absolute one of the best in the world, and I feel like he's very good. Yeah, Theo Hernandez, if he was still at Milan, would almost probably be cheaper, wouldn't he? So I might almost, but again, in this career mode, he's way too expensive. Fuck, can't win. Tell you what, let's opt for Luca Digne here, and let's just go for, I mean, he wouldn't go for any more than 40. I wouldn't pay any more than 40. Or should I say 50? I wouldn't pay any more than 50, but let me put in a 40 million pound offer for him, or thereabouts, what I think he could go for. Oh, they actually come back with 46.2. Maybe that would be around about what we'd have to pay, but still, yeah, all right, we can accept that, fine. Let's just round it up to 40, round it off at 45. That's 75 million that we're spending on just two fullbacks, for crying out loud, okay? It's tough out here. Maybe I should have gone for Robin Gosens actually instead, you know, that probably almost would have been better, and he probably would have been cheaper. You know, it's not too late. How much could I pay for him, Robin Gosens? He's also in the last year of his contract as well. Oh my God, if he doesn't renew as well, he could be a major get as well. He could be way cheaper. You know, now that I think about it, he definitely would be about 10 million at least, I would say, pounds cheaper than Digne, just for the fact that he's not in the Premier League. You know what? I can actually see about 30 million going, maybe 35 million. I know that's probably, that's more than what I need to pay in FIFA to get him, but I think 35 million for Robin Gosens, possibly 40, maybe, I don't know, but still, let's go for that instead. As for the midfielders, I mean, Hossein Aouar, I think, would be a very Newcastle kind of signing. Like, you get a star League One player in and just hope he does well, just like we were doing, like, all the time about 10 years ago. We were just buying every somewhat decent player from League One and just hoping that they were decent. Some of them did end up being very, very good, and I reckon this man would be a terrific get. As much as I would love Jude Bellingham, again, I feel like, I don't know. I don't really know if the English tax applies when buying English players from foreign clubs, but I'm sure it probably still would in a way. They'd probably still factor in a little bit extra. I'd probably go Hossein Aouar out of all three of these guys. I mean, Yuri Tielemans be very expensive, I get the feeling for. Jude Bellingham, you've got the English tax from Dortmund, even though, yes, he's at Ajax in this career mode. I'd go for Hossein Aouar. And what do you think he would go for in today's market? Apparently, again, if he hasn't renewed his contract with Lyon going into this season, he'd be in the last year of his contract as well. So, it depends, but I'd maybe round it off at like 50 million flat, maybe 60. What did Camovinga go for? Wow, I'm looking at it now. Eduardo Camovinga apparently only went to Real Madrid for like less than 35 million pounds. Are you kidding me? His market value is going to definitely be like above 50. I'm shocked by that. Well, okay, maybe Hossein Aouar is going to be like south of 50 million pounds then. Maybe we go for 45 or just 50 million flat. That's what I thought I'd have to pay. But then I just remember thinking, oh, would he be a little bit more? Would he be about Calvin Phillips, Ward-Prowse's price tag? But no, I'd say 50 million. So I'd probably go for 50 million for him. Let's think of it this way. If Joelinton was worth 40, then surely Hossein Aouar has got to be worth more than that. It's got to be 50. It's got to be. And yeah, we'll go for that too. And finally, like I said, I think we'll go for Alexander Isak as the other big signing, just the starter put up top. And look, as much as Raheem Sterling to Newcastle would be crazy and huge, I think it's more likely we see Isak come here than Raheem Sterling. So we might go for Alexander Isak. And look, I'm telling you again, if we paid 40 million pounds for Joelinton and this guy can actually score, is young, is got good potential, and I think he's definitely going to be more prolific than bloody Joelinton, I would almost expect to have to pay 60 million possibly for this guy. Let's just go for it. I mean, 60, 55 on a really good day, depending how good the negotiation skills are. But let's chuck in the oil tax for the fact that everyone knows now that we probably have money. So we'll pay 60 million for Alexandre Isak. Attackers always go for way more anyway. Oh, according to Jurgen Klopp, even though he's gone to Liverpool in real life, we're just assuming like they're still at their clubs at this point. He'd want us to pay 75 million pounds. You know, I'll just accept that, whatever, it's done. But I feel like in real life, 60 to 65 mil for Alexandre Isak's what you'd expect. But then again, you've blown me away, Real Madrid, with how you've got Camovinga for 30 million here. Like, that just surely shouldn't make any sense. But okay, people, after the next batch of signings then, and how many did we make there? 4, without a centre-back. I would have gone for another centre-back. I would have gone for Koundé, but I don't know if we're going to make that happen. Maybe we'll sign him in January. I don't know. But look, this team is still stupid. Isak now up top instead of Lacazette. Yeah, we just signed one striker just to go and sign another 6 months later. But I feel like Isak, at least at 22, with his upside, who'll hopefully be the man going forward for a while, with Hossein Aouar behind him as well. I think he would be an amazing get for us. We're bringing Kevin Mbabu back. How about that? And then Goossens on the left-hand side, I think would also be another sensational pickup for us as well. And look at this team, okay? We have completely overhauled it aside from Dubravka and Lascelles, the captain. These two, I don't know about Lascelles, but I think Dubravka could genuinely, if he maintains his level, how old is he now, would he be? He'd be 33. Maybe we need to start looking into, or hopefully Darlow could maybe, I mean, he'd only be about 31, bit younger. I don't know, but I genuinely have no problem with, I feel like the goalkeeper is by far the position we need to worry about least at the moment. I'm still okay with this. I mean, we just maybe make one more centre-back signing like Jules Koundé possibly, or somebody else if there is someone out there. But I really love the look of that team, all right? Zaha, Isak, and Sam Maximin. What a front three. Ward-Prowse, Aouar, and Phillips. What a midfield trio that is. And then you've got a back line that's pretty strong with Tarkowski and Barbu, Goossens, and Lascelles. And if we got another centre-back in, then that'd be amazing. And again, that is not maybe a team that gets Champions League. Totally fine with that. Totally aware. We've dropped a lot of money for no possible European football. That's fine. I don't care. If we get this team at least starting to look like it can push and go a little deep into the top 10, great. Perfect way for us to hopefully kickstart this little road that we could be on. And then over time, add more and more and more to it. And then eventually, we're basically just trying to recreate what Man City did. That's all we're trying to do here. But there we have it though, people. That is another transfer window out of the way. I might sim to January and see how this team is going according to FIFA. Again, there's not much you can get out of that, but still, regardless, we'll just do it anyway. If I had to make a guess what that starting 11 was capable of under a, coherent, capable manager, surely that team could be pushing for maybe not Europa League, but like 7th-ish. I would say 6th, 7th-ish with like, I would say that would be about that. That's about the level. Not Champions League, half a chance of Europa League at best. But let's simulate forward. Let's go all the way to January and see how this team does in the first half of the season. So then, after a half a season, we are in January, and there have been some games played one extra by some other clubs, but we currently sit in 10th place right here, okay, on 21 games, 31 points, 8 wins, 7 draws, and 6 losses only from 21 games. That is improvement. It is. Were you expecting, like I said, to be a little bit higher up according to FIFA? Maybe a smidge. But again, like I said, I'm perfectly fine with this for the time being. Like, I really don't care if this is where we are about after spending all this cash straight away. I don't mind. But I feel like we'd again continue to only add to the talent of the roster. We've had an injury or two, that is for sure, but the team still looks pretty damn sound, and I'm still pretty damn happy with it. And I probably wouldn't really expect to at this stage of this little, process of ours. I wouldn't expect for us to drop that much money in January unless we had a few key areas that we could do with strengthening. And I think, again, if we're talking about key problem areas, I'd go for this man Koundé. Would I spend apparently the 75 million that career mode saying I'd need on him? Probably not. Right now in real life, I think he'd probably be about a 50-ish million pound player, maybe 60 or so as well. I would say from just generic valuations that I think I've seen around the place. I would say 60 million for him would be quite fair if you consider things like Van Dijk went over to Liverpool for like 75, 80 million. So you're paying about 20 mil less for him. I would try to get him for about 60 million pounds. In this career mode, I'm probably going to have to pay something like 70 though. So let me just offer that and see. Yeah, whoa, they came back with 95 and a 10% sell-on clause. Holy crap. I probably would not be paying this much for him if this was what they were. because we'd be breaking a record for the most expensive defender of all time. I would not be prepared to do that for this guy. I just wouldn't. I'm going to try to settle on 85 million and 10%, just so that way we can at least get him and complete the team. But still, no. Still no. I tell you what, Dortmund wanting peace for him, and he doesn't even play for Dortmund in real life. He's gone there in this damn career mode. There's too many hassles, man. Fine, we've got the cash. Again, if, you know, this is the funny thing too, with the amount of money that we probably have now. Like, I don't know. Do you think the Saudis are just going to be like, oh, we've been dealing with these people for like a month. Just give them what they want. I don't care. And just buckle and do it. I hope not, but I could see it happening. But anyway, with the addition of Jules Koundé in the team, this is how the backline looks. The complete and utterly different backline of Newcastle United now. It's almost a completely different starting 11. Every outfielder is new aside from Alan Saint-Maximin and Dubravka. They're the only remaining players in the starting 11 of Newcastle United that stay after about a year and a half. And to be fair, I think they deserve to be. They've definitely shown that they're the ones that are the best in the side. So yeah, Dubravka being 33, maybe obviously he might drop off a little. I hope not. I really hope not. But yeah, Saint-Maximin will probably be staying there for the long haul. I really hope he does okay at right mid. But still though, with Koundé replacing Lascelles in the centre-back partnership alongside Tarkowski, I've gone and given Ward-Prowse the captain's armband because I think if he were to move to Newcastle, definitely, if he stays for the long haul, that could be a future possible captain there. I'm just saying. But there you have it, people. If you were a Newcastle United fan, like I am, and if you were feeling a certain way about this, how would you feel about this team? How much has this entire team cost us? It's probably something like £350 million, I think, right there for that entire team. Would you take that? Or maybe 400 million possibly for that entire team. And we've spent that in about 18 months. Is that even financial fair play possible? I don't think so. But I'm just saying, if we had this team in, I don't know, 2 years' time, would you see me complaining? Hell bloody no. Is it realistic? Obviously, we're not going to get every single one of the players that I'm keen for. Some clubs just will not be willing to sell for at least, you know, just a stupid, ludicrous amount of money. Which, fair enough, that's going to happen. We're going to have to make, you know, compromises, and we're going to have to go for alternatives. It's going to happen. But if everything aligned perfectly and we could just go for whoever we wanted, and again, by whoever we wanted, I meant within reason, this is my team right here. Isak, Zaha, Saint-Maximin a front three, Ward-Prowse, Phillips, OR a midfield. Love that. Goossens, Koundé, Tarkowski, and Mbabu with Dubravka in goal. I'm all right with that. I'm more than all right with that, actually. I think that's a stellar team. That is a team that could definitely eventually push, I think, for Champions League with maybe, I don't know, you could even add more players just to absolutely be sure of it. But I think after a couple of years or so, that team would have to be ticking like an absolute clock. Let me finish off the rest of this season. Let me advance all the way to June just to see where we finish in the Premier League table. Before we skip ahead, by the way, oh my God, I just wanted to see, did we really lose 2-1 3 times in a month in 3 cup competitions to Liverpool? What the fuck? And at the end of the season, you see that there is no Newcastle United in the top 8 after all that money spent, after all those signings. Yes, but we do finish in 9th place, which hilariously is the best finish that we have had in the Premier League in what would have been over 10 years. So in a way, the money has definitely been spent fairly enough in that regard. And consider the teams above us for a second. I mean, aside from Aston Villa, who must have clearly had a season for the ages for them, you've got United, City, Liverpool, Spurs. You've got basically the entire top 6 and then Everton ahead of us. Can't complain with that, really. I don't think after 2 years, we're going to develop a team that's going to be capable of knocking off the top 6. I don't think so. That's kind of ludicrous to think that. I think it would be next season that this team would probably start challenging for European places, I reckon. It's going to take, I mean, this season in real life is all about survival, staying up in the Premier League. Then we get that entire off season to start the rebuild significantly. And then just sort of coast along that season, try to really get a bit of an identity in the team going. And then the season after that, just improve and improve and improve until eventually we start seeing that progression up toward those European places, if that is how it's all going to work out. Or we could all crash and burn like, I don't know, QPR. But then again, QPR didn't have as much money as what we apparently have now. We're literally richer than Man City and PSG. If we don't pull this off, and I swear, with the amount of shit that I've talked, and I don't even think it's shit, it's genuinely fair. You look at the bank balance of Man City, you look at the bank balance of PSG, then you look at what we've got, we've surely at least got to somewhat emulate what they've been able to do. It's just going to take a while. But I don't know, those are my possible signings. I've got other alternatives and other players I'd be more than happy to go for, but that's my little, this is my little starting 11, if you don't mind, people. And, you know, it makes me happy. At the very least, at the end of the day, if this is the team that I get to watch play football, this is my team in like 2 years' time versus what I've had to deal with for the past 15 years. Do you think you're going to see me complaining? No, I probably will never complain if we don't make Champions League, honestly, at least for the first couple of seasons. It depends on how much money I suppose we're burning through. But I am just so ecstatic about the prospect of maybe this potentially being a team that I get to watch in the future. If again, a miracle happens and I somehow go 10 out of 10 incorrect transfers in a 2-year period. If so, then at that point, seriously, just hire me, Newcastle. That'll do it for me, though, for this one, people. Tell me what you think about these transfers and tell me what you think Newcastle United should do in terms of the next 2 years. Who should they be going for? What areas should they be focusing on? I'm pretty happy. I'm damn happy with this team. So, but yeah, I'm always keen to hear what you guys have to say as well. I am almost definitely, after the Wrexham career mode, going to be starting up an actual proper Newcastle United career mode. This was just a little taste, a little sliver. I don't want to do a proper full rebuild where we go all the way and win the Champions League just yet, because I want to do that for an actual proper career mode. So keep your eyes peeled. I don't think that's going to be too further away. It might be a few more weeks, but trust me, it's coming. I'll see you all for it, people. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed. Catch you next time, and bye-bye.